Same poison, new bottle. Ah, yes, nothing says, I'm just telling the truth, like stuffing Rothschilds, Rockefellers, BlackRock, Bilderberg, Freemasons, Kabbalah, Herzl, World War I, World War II, Hitler, the International Monetary Fund, Mossad, the Talmud, Baal, and the Third Temple into one ideological cholent and calling it dinner. This is not truth getting told. This is anti-Semitic fan fiction. What you're about to hear is dramatized to sound the way it sounded in my head when I read it.
Of course. You only use anti-Semitic when the truth gets told. You European Zionist. You don't even have any ties to the Holy Land. When we speak of Rothschilds, Rockefellers, BlackRock, Bilderbergs, 33 Mason, Kabbalah, World War I was planned to dismantle the European empires and the Ottoman Empire. Theodor Herzl in 1897 is widely considered the founder of the modern Zionist movement, and promoting the idea of a Jewish Zionist state in Palestine is what cemented his legacy as the founder of the modern Zionist movement in Switzerland Congress. Then World War I happened. The then League of Nations was formed to hold Britain sign the Balfour Declaration, to give the land over to the Zionists. Then they planned World War II, financial financing Hitler and his party. Have you even wondered who Hitler was? That was Rothschild's grandson. They were controlling both sides of the war to establish the Zionist states of Israel. After World War II, the Untied Nation was born, like the International Monetary Fund, Mossad, then 1948 Zionist state. You can call an anti-Zionist buffer when you are not Semitic, or from European countries like all the Zionist prime ministers. So our theory of goes down the drain. Who controls the money? Rothschilds, the International Monetary Fund, Rothschilds, governments, the Zionists, and we know World War III would try to bring the third Zionist temple, right? And you will try to establish the greater Zionist state from Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. We ain't stupid. You label everything anti-Semitic, even in the Talmud Goyim and Gentiles. Keep talking rubbish and worship or Baal.
Let's do the adult thing and separate criticism from conspiracy. You can criticize Israeli policy. You can criticize Israeli leaders. You can criticize war, borders, settlements, governments, coalitions, military decisions, and every prime minister Israel has ever had. Mazel tov. Jews do that daily, loudly, with charts and cousins yelling over schnitzel. But when your argument becomes Jews control the banks, Jews plan the wars, Jews created Hitler, Jews run governments, Jews secretly control the world, Jews are fake Semites, Jews worship evil, Jews use the Talmud to hate non-Jews. That is not political analysis. That is anti-Semitism wearing a fake mustache and pretending to be geopolitical literacy. The Jewish connection to the land of Israel did not begin in 1897 with Theodor Herzl. Herzl did not invent Jewish longing for Zion. He organized a modern political movement around a 3,000-year-old identity. Jews prayed toward Jerusalem while Europe was still figuring out forks. Every Passover, Jews say, "Next year in Jerusalem." At every Jewish wedding, we break a glass to remember Jerusalem. Hebrew, Torah, archaeology, Jewish law, liturgy, exile, memory, and history all tie the Jewish people to that land. You do not have to like Zionism, but pretending Jews have no ties to Zion is like pretending Italians have no ties to Rome, because some of them live in New Jersey. And the European Zionist line is especially cute. Jews were in Europe because empires exiled us, ghettos trapped us, churches persecuted us, mobs murdered us, and governments moved us around like unwanted furniture. Then, after centuries of telling Jews, go back where you came from, anti Semites now scream, not there. Pick a lane, Babala. The traffic is embarrassing. Jews are not fake Semites. Hebrew is a Semitic language. Judaism emerged in the ancient Near East. Jewish peoplehood predates Islam, Christianity, the Arab conquest, the Ottoman Empire, the League of Nations, and your uncle's YouTube documentary with dramatic background music. Ashkenazi Jews are not fake Jews because we survived in Europe. A Jew in Poland was still a Jew. A Jew in Iraq was still a Jew. A Jew in Ethiopia was still a Jew. A Jew in Morocco was still a Jew. A Jew in Yemen was still a Jew. The world scattered us. It did not erase our Jewishness. Now, let's talk about the Rothschild Hitler nonsense. Hitler was not Rothschild's grandson. That is not history. That is a fever dream born of 1930s Nazi propaganda. The Nazis did not murder 6 million Jews as part of a Jewish banking scheme to create Israel. That claim is Holocaust inversion, Holocaust distortion, and moral rot rolled into one. The Nazis murdered Jews because their ideology saw Jews as a parasitic race responsible for every problem in the world, which, awkwardly, sounds a lot like yours. That is the thing about anti Semitic conspiracy theories. They always think they're exposing power, but somehow they keep arriving at the same ancient accusation: the Jew is behind everything. Capitalism, Jews. Communism, Jews. Wars, Jews. Banks, Jews. Media, Jews. Immigration, Jews. Disease, Jews. Your toaster burned the bagel? Probably Mossad. At a certain point, this stops being research and becomes a group project in historical illiteracy. In the Talmud, people who quote the Talmud to prove Jews hate non Jews almost never know what the Talmud is. They find a meme, a fake quote, or a ripped out line from a massive library of legal debate, moral reasoning, argument, commentary, minority opinions, hypotheticals, and rabbinic wrestling. The Talmud is not a villain manual. It is thousands of pages of Jews arguing with other Jews about law, ethics, prayer, holidays, business, damages, food, courts, and whether an oven can be halakhically bullied into agreement. Trust me, if Jews secretly controlled the world through the Talmud, we would have started by making synagogue meetings shorter. And goy simply means nation. In the Bible, even Israel is called a goy. Gentile means non Jew. These are not magic slurs, they are categories. But anti Semites love pretending Hebrew is sinister because ancient Jewish words scare them more than their own ignorance. Here is the truth: anti Semitism becomes anti Semitism when it denies Jews' peoplehood, denies Jewish history, denies Jewish indigeneity, denies Jewish self determination, demonizes Jews as world controlling monsters, or holds the Jewish state to standards applied to no one else. Your post did all of that before breakfast. So, yes, I will call it anti Semitic, not because I fear truth, because I recognize a very old lie. It wore a medieval robe when it accused Jews of poisoning wells. It wore a Nazi uniform when it accused Jews of controlling nations. It wears a kuffiyah and a podcast mic today when it says Zionists run the world. You are not asking questions. You are recycling accusations that got Jews expelled, burned, beaten, ghettoized, and murdered for centuries. And here's the part you really will not like: the Jewish people are still here. Empires that tried to erase us are museum exhibits. Armies that marched against us are footnotes. Kings, caliphs, czars, inquisitors, Nazis, terrorists, and keyboard prophets of doom all had their moment. We are still lighting candles, still reading Torah, still speaking Hebrew, still arguing, still laughing, still alive. Am Yisrael High does not mean Jews are better than anyone. It means we are still here despite everyone who thought their hatred was history's final word. So keep your conspiracy stew. We will keep our memory, our dignity, our truth, and our homeland. And maybe, just maybe, read a book that was not recommended by a guy filming from his car. If you enjoy my writing, support me by buying my book, Screaming into the Void, available on paperback or Kindle on Amazon.com.